Regarding a journey to the West, I'm not sure if recently, we made a small batch outside. After arriving, at least for Dharma friends in our academy, it would be best if they could get a copy. Let's see if there are any available. If so, for those who came later, if there's really no other way, I can offer them as gifts. One for each person, though I'm not sure if there are enough. If we have enough, it should be fine. Please take a look. Mainly for those who came this time. We can give them copies too. I'll cover the cost. It's fine. This batch is slightly less refined than the previous one, but it should still be acceptable. I hope that everyone here, if possible, I'm not sure when you'll receive them, perhaps in a couple of days. Please don't take extras with you. If you want to take some, we can discuss that later. Every part of this text is filled with pith instructions. Although our Dharma text is a bit heavy, it is also very important. The English editions printed outside are even heavier. A complete set weighs at least 180 jin. So heavy. But when it comes to weight, people outside believe that heavier books are more valuable. So they like to make books that are, especially Westerners prefer heavier books. We tend to be a bit lazy, so wouldn't lighter be better? When we made the Larung daily prayers before, we wanted them as light as possible. Probably many people prefer it that way, printed on lightweight paper. Now let's continue with A Journey to the West. We are currently at the 4th stop, Napa Valley. His Holiness taught there for 11 days. Right now we are discussing the preliminary section of the Chetsun Dzogchen. The Chetsun Dzogchen is a very profound teaching, but this time we are covering the preliminary section. Actually, even the preliminaries are quite profound. Generally speaking, in the past, the great masters strictly prohibited even listening to the preliminaries without empowerment. But this time, most of us should have received the Dzogchen highest yoga empowerment, so teaching the preliminaries shouldn't be a major issue. That's why I'm sharing this with everyone this time. I hope that those who haven't completed the preliminary practices will properly engage in them. This is extremely important. Now let's move to the second section, the pith instructions for actual practice. The historical section that was taught earlier yesterday, His Holiness already explained it during the empowerment, because the teaching system of this cycle is to impart the oral instructions in the manner of empowerment. So during the empowerment this morning, everything was explained in sequence. He explained while conferring the empowerment. This is the style of the pith instruction tradition. When His Holiness gave the empowerment in New York, it was the same. When he gave the empowerment in Napa Valley, it was also the same. He taught while conferring. Actually, the explanations weren't extremely detailed. Looking at it, the explanations basically followed the original text, because the original text isn't overly brief. Actually, when it comes to receiving empowerment or practicing pith instructions, there is no difference in terms of the first step. Generally speaking, the first step is to give rise to the genuine mind of renunciation and detach yourself from whatever you are attached to in samsara. To cultivate such a mindset, there are the tradition of Padmasambhava and that of Pandita Vimalamitra, two teaching approaches. So there are two ways of explaining this. According to the tradition of Padmasambhava, a practitioner would contemplate the rarity of a human existence endowed with freedoms and advantages, and the impermanence of life to eradicate attachment to this life, and reflect deeply on the infallibility of the karmic law of cause and effect, and the defects of samsara to uproot attachment to the next life. Omniscient Longchenpa mainly explained this in Finding Comfort and Ease in the Nature of Mind and in the great commentary on that text. The explanations there are quite clear. Later, Jigme Lingpa also explained it clearly in the Wish-Fulfilling Treasury. We've temporarily set aside the Wish-Fulfilling Treasury, put aside 2 chapters of content. After reviewing it, I feel it's quite a pity. I must translate it in the future. I feel reluctant to leave it. It's like leaving an adorable child out in the wilderness. But for now, because there are other things, and some parts are difficult to understand. Also, if there are too many classes to teach and the translation content is too difficult, sometimes rest doesn't go well either, and eating doesn't go well either. This morning I went out for a walk for the purpose of exercise, not because the food here isn't good. The food here is actually delicious, but sometimes for the sake of physical exercise, staying here all the time isn't ideal. So I try as much as possible to go to places a bit farther away, about 2 or 3 kilometers. Then while searching around, I found a place that serves rice noodles. I thought it was particularly delicious, so I had a bowl. But as it turned out, I don't know if it was expired or what, but my stomach has been uncomfortable all day. So I thought it's better not to translate the wish-fulfilling treasury this afternoon. Otherwise, with both that translation and the Shurangama Sutra, those characters I don't even recognize, looking up this and that is quite troublesome. In that case, it would be quite pitiful. So tomorrow I won't go to that place. Sometimes it's quite interesting, though, experiencing the world this way like a beggar. As monastics, we are. In Tibetan culture, there's a saying, wherever a beggar dies, that's where their walking stick decays. For a monastic, whether one dies here or lives there, it doesn't really matter. Whether benefiting beings through teaching or practicing oneself, anywhere is fine. Where one dies or lives doesn't matter. Some people insist on dying at home or insist on dying at a Dharma center. For me, where I die or live in the future, it doesn't really matter. Dying in a hospital is fine. Dying at a Dharma center is fine. Dying on the street is also fine. Wherever it happens, it doesn't matter. It's nothing. Today there's nothing much either, just a little bit uncomfortable. So I won't go out tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be good. Otherwise, sometimes being naughty brings these kinds of consequences. Is this the karmic result of the 6 senses or the result of eating? These are real-life consequences. In the teaching tradition of Vimalamitra, according to the secret intent of the wish-fulfilling jewel of the copper syllables, this is found in the Vimanyingtik. It provides 7 methods for training the mind. As for interpreting the hidden meaning, there is a slight difference from what is expounded in omniscient Longchenpa's Lama Yangtig and what is said in the 3 sections of this teaching by the great Chetsun. They are slightly different, but this time we will follow the great Chetsun's teaching. Actually, whether elaborate or concise, I've compared them and there's no major difference. I just hope that if you have time recently, you will carefully reflect on these preliminary practices, these 7 contemplations. I hope everyone here will truly reflect on them. This is very important. If you wish to understand in slightly more detail the 7 contemplations of omniscient Longchenpa's preliminary practice, they can be found in his texts. In the Lama Yangtig, there is specifically a commentary on the main practice, the treasury of luminosity, as well as a commentary on the 7 preliminary practices. Each one is explained in there. His Holiness taught on it, and so did omniscient Longchenpa. Moreover, if you study along while the teaching is being given and you make effort at that time, there is a special blessing power, things you simply cannot find in books. Once the teaching is being given, you receive them immediately. After it's over, they may no longer be available. So this is somewhat like when we go shopping and there's a promotion going on. After a while it's gone. Do you want to buy it? If so, you should buy it now while the promotion is on. So while we're giving the teaching now, while the promotion is on, if you look at the text right now, you'll receive blessings immediately. After some time, Longchenpa's promotion will no longer be available. The promotion of Longchenpa's blessings will be withdrawn. So I suggest that those who have received the Lama Yangtig empowerment look into this Lama Yangtig, where there is specifically a teaching on the 7 contemplations. For each of these 7 contemplations, see if you can truly give rise in your mind stream to the meaning of the 7 preliminaries of the Chetsun Dzogchen. During this holiday period, everyone should practice this well. This is very important. Now, the first mind training. How is it taught? The first mind training goes like this. All compounded phenomena are impermanent, like water bubbles. In the original 3 sections of the Chetsun Nyingtig, it is taught this way. His Holiness introduced this. On that day, His Holiness just read this part, played it in the recording, and then explained so much that followed. There was a recording at that time. Didn't I mention this before? Earlier I said that for the Chetsun Dzogchen and the Flight of Garuda, I had Khenpo Chime Rinzin record them. Actually, if I recorded them myself, it would also be relatively simple. But on one hand, I'm a bit lazy, and on the other hand, I wanted him to record it. That's how it is. This means that whatever conditioned phenomena arise from causes and conditions, all compounded phenomena in any situation are without exception of the nature of impermanence. Think about the outer universe, Mount Meru, the 4 great continents, the 8 subcontinents, and the ring of iron mountains. These things that appear to be grand, firm, and solid, they will someday be engulfed in 7 stages of fire and 1 of water. In the end, the whole universe will become an empty space with nothing left. Therefore, it is impermanent. These topics are covered in Words of My Perfect Teacher and other texts as well, so I don't need to elaborate further. But everyone must contemplate this. I believe each of you understands this theory, but whether this understanding can truly arise in your mind stream, that is the key question. When you reflect on sentient beings dwelling in the universe, they are also impermanent. For example, in the past throughout the world, there were many universal monarchs. In the Holy Land of India, there were the 3 Palas, as well as the 37 Chandras. These are recorded in the history of Indian Buddhism. There were many great figures, yet all these manifestations, now even their names are unheard of. As for who the 3 Palas were, it's in Buddhist history but otherwise unknown. Therefore, the lords of sentient beings are impermanent by nature. The lords of sentient beings are also impermanent. Think about the Buddhas of the past. Buddha Krakuchanda, Buddha Kanakamuni, and Buddha Kashyapa, they all entered into parinirvana. Our root teacher, who possessed skillful means, great loving kindness and compassion, Buddha Shakyamuni, as well as his inconceivably great noble retinue of bodhisattvas, shravakas, and pratyeka Buddhas, they all passed into nirvana one after another. Now only the Buddha's teachings for this degenerate time remain. Everything else is gone. So even the noble beings cannot exist forever in this world. As for great masters and accomplished beings, the 8 great accomplished masters of India, the 25 disciples of Guru Rinpoche in Tibet, and so many great masters of various lineages have all passed away. Actually, among those of our generation, when we think back to those masters, including Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok, Achu Lama, Penor Rinpoche, these extraordinarily great masters of that time, they have all departed one after another. So sometimes death really isn't that far away. Everyone must develop this sense of impermanence. If you ponder on the passing of time, you will see that time is also impermanent. At the beginning of an eon is the Satya Yuga, age of perfection. Then there follows the Treta Yuga, age of possessing 3, and the Dvapara Yuga, age of possessing 2, as well as the Kali Yuga, age of strife. They appear one after another. None of these ages endures forever. They have all passed away. Our current time is also the same. The successive alternation of 4 seasons, from summer to autumn, from autumn to winter, and from winter to spring, this cycle of impermanence continues to unfold in sequence. So it is certainly impermanent. Look at how quickly now, before we even realized it, winter has arrived. Many of us here have already persevered through this winter, the winter classes. You've all worked hard, and so have I. Lately, I've been feeling quite happy in my heart. Many Dharma friends have been working very hard. You're all quite remarkable. Right now, you're in a place where it's around minus 20 degrees Celsius, while I'm in a place where it's around plus 20 degrees. There's a 40-degree difference between us. So this kind of connection is quite something. At the time, I can see that every teaching I give, you can also experience it. Sometimes this feels a bit better. Otherwise, with just one old monk teaching in front of him, sometimes I feel quite lonely. So now, this mutual gaze we share. Although it's not real, you can't see my true appearance, it's an illusion. I can't see your true appearances either. But within these illusory conditions, we still create a certain feeling together. This is also quite good. Moreover, with today's technology, indeed at the same time, it's as if I'm right there on the teaching throne in person, but there's not much difference. In terms of the feeling, this is also thanks to everyone's technical skills, dedication, and effort. When all the conditions come together, although we cannot be together physically, we can still come together to enjoy the Mahayana Dharma like this. This is also a wonderful opportunity. I personally see this as a very rare opportunity for me as well. Perhaps you also feel that this is quite rare. It is certainly impermanent. To be more specific, the 4 times of today, this morning, now this afternoon, this evening, and after midnight will not persist either. Today is like this, tomorrow will be the same. The cycle repeats, and time passes quickly in impermanence. Even faster than this, everything keeps changing moment by moment, so nothing lasts for long. As Jigme Lingpa said in the wish-fulfilling treasury, in this world, the sun, the moon, celestial beings, and light, these are the fastest things. But what is even faster than these? The passing of sentient beings' lives is faster than anything else, faster than the wind, faster than anything, because it is beyond our ordinary imagination. There's nothing we can do as it slips away. So it is said to be extremely fast, and nothing lasts forever. Similar to the examples of the outer universe and inner inhabitants being impermanent, your own fragile bodies are certainly not long-lasting and indestructible. Therefore you must evoke in your heart a firm determination and resolve to engage in virtuous practice as soon as possible. It is of particular necessity that you develop a sense of impermanence by reflecting on your own existence. The way of reflecting is to observe that death is certain, that the time of death is uncertain, and that at the time of death only the Dharma can help you. Nothing else will be of any benefit. You must train in these 3 points repeatedly. First, death is certain. That is to say, everyone in this world will die in the end, and no one can survive death. This point is known not only by religious followers and scientists, but even any normal person knows that they will certainly die. No one fails to understand this. But what we particularly need to contemplate now is this. The time of death is uncertain, that I will die someday. Everyone probably knows this, but this is not the most important point. What matters is knowing that the time of death is uncertain. The time of death is uncertain means that all of you present here, no matter who you are, need to develop in your minds the idea that death is certain. This must truly arise within you. As I just mentioned, let's examine ourselves. Has bodhicitta arisen in you? Have you generated bodhicitta? Now have you developed this sense of impermanence? Has it truly arisen in you? Without this concept, you will never achieve real accomplishment in Dharma practice, but will be carried away by all sorts of trivial distractions in this life. This is really true. Think about all the generations of people who have come into this world. The time of all their deaths was uncertain. Regarding those who were born 100 years ago, except a few, most have probably passed away by now. Therefore, we are surely not going to survive forever in this world. Generally speaking, all people living in this world, except for a few, after 100 years, will quite possibly no longer exist in this world. Speaking of the world's population, around the time of Napa Valley last year, I saw a piece of news at the time saying that humanity had just surpassed 8 billion. It should have been around Napa Valley last year. So now it should be around 8 billion. Before that, it was 7.8 billion. The growth afterward has been particularly rapid. So these people, all 8 billion of them, in another 100 years, except for a very few exceptionally long-lived elders, this is quite frightening to think about. 100 years passes very quickly. If all 8 billion people will have to depart, that is quite terrifying. 100 years passes very quickly. 8 billion people, basically all of them within 100 years, all the people currently in this world will all be gone by then. So sometimes people have many misconceptions about the continuity of life. Everyone should understand this. This includes all of us present here. Nearly all of us will certainly die. If you think about your relatives and friends who were with you when you were young, you will find that the majority of them have left this world and entered their next lives. Just like them, you will die too, probably very soon. Not only that, for those of us present here, it is hard to say whether everyone will still be alive this time next year. It is quite possible that many of you will die this year, including when we have class tonight. At our academy, it happens frequently. So many young people die in all sorts of circumstances. No one can assure that death will only strike the old. The young and children are also included. It's not like they won't die. On the road to the netherworld, there is no distinction between old and young. It is also hard to determine that this person will die while that person will not. It's not like that. We cannot even be certain that we ourselves will not be among those who die next year. None of us can truly guarantee this. His Holiness spoke quite pointedly about this here. Everyone should carefully reflect on it. Taking all factors into consideration, you can see that the next life is not that far away. You are certain to die. and you are not sure whether you can survive next month or even tomorrow. A couple of days ago, one of our Khenpos, a Khenpo from the academy, was teaching in Luhuo. While he was teaching, a fellow from my hometown went to attend the teachings. While listening, it seems the Khenpo was also teaching on impermanence. Then he said, "I'm feeling a bit unwell." There was supposed to be a precept ceremony afterward, but he felt unwell during it and went back home. So he went back. When his wife returned after the precept ceremony, he was already dead in his own bed, they said. It seems he just went home, and death came that quickly. But truly for us, the moment we stand up and lift our heads, we could just collapse right there. It can happen that fast. Death can come so quickly in all sorts of ways. So death is just around the corner. Ordinary worldly people, even though they know many people around them have died, they never think it will be their turn. When it is their turn, they think, "What do I do now?" In reality, we don't even know if we'll die tomorrow. Death is truly just around the corner. Let me say one more thing. At the time of death, only the Dharma can help you. Nothing else will be of any benefit. When a person dies, all advantages like wealth, possessions, power, status, good looks, and the like are of no use. Think about power and status. Even great emperors who rule the entire world upon death will have to enter the next life alone by themselves, unable to take anyone to accompany them. Look at national leaders, or whoever may be the most powerful leaders in the world, those we've recently learned about last year, the year before. So many great figures in the world have departed. In the end, they couldn't take even a single person with them. Everyone knows this. Think about wealth and possessions. Even if a person owns all the wealth of the world, when death arrives, he or she cannot even take a mouthful of food with them, not even a tiny bit. Zuckerberg, Buffett, including Jack Ma and others like them, they certainly don't think that they will never die. Whenever I see worldly people at their forums and such, every time I attend, I'm always contemplating impermanence in my mind. In their conversations, there's not even the slightest sense of impermanence. If we Buddhists also become like this, it would be quite sad. Now Jack Ma isn't popular anymore. We can't mention him now. Those people I used to mention casually are also subject to impermanence. Some have risen, some have fallen. The same applies to each of us as individuals. Likewise, high status and a beautiful appearance. Some people are very young, from noble families, wealthy, with everything going for them. They drive nice cars and have good social standing. They feel, wow, I'm really something, like a celestial being, like a goddess, I'm really wonderful. They look in the mirror day and night, feeling so pleased, intoxicated by themselves, thinking, I'm truly the only celestial being to have descended to the human realm. They become infatuated with themselves, but after some time they get older and older. Then they become anxious, but there's nothing they can do, so everything is impermanent. At the time of death, none of these things will accompany you. You will have to go to the next life only with your positive and negative karma. At that time, what is certainly beneficial is the positive karma you have accumulated. What will certainly bring you harm is the negative deeds you have done. Therefore, now that you enjoy the freedom to practice the Dharma, you must expend all your efforts to forsake unwholesome deeds and engage in wholesome deeds. It is important that you make such a determination in your mind and act accordingly in body and speech. These teachings are profound pith instructions. This is what we call pith instructions. I hope that what we've discussed today in each person's heart, if you read this repeatedly, along with Omniscient Longchenpa's Preliminaries, the first preliminary practice, please also read that. Perhaps tonight you will truly develop the sense of impermanence and death. If you have this sense of impermanence and death, your future practice will have much greater strength. No matter what regarding all the chaotic worldly matters, you won't be so attached to them. Even if things happen, if there are gains and losses, you won't suffer as much as before or grasp at them as real. So this is really crucial. So I hope that you will, on one hand, pray to His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok, and on the other hand, we dare not claim to have realized Dzogchen or the great Madhyamaka, but impermanence and bodhicitta, these are things we should be able to develop. There shouldn't be any problem with that. If you have these realizations, you will be very different from ordinary worldly people. So your practice will certainly have momentum. All right, let's stop here for today.
Kirkana Jirano Chukai, Chupun Tulen Droa Droa
Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava